Coming up next, 2 murders and a kidnapping that sent shockwaves through San Diego County are being revisited. We hear from a retired FBI agent ahead of tonight's episode of FBI True.
2 people sentenced in court today for their roles in a burglary theft ring.
Governor Gavin Newsom decided the fate of many bills. What did he sign into law and what did he veto? Coming up.
Vista's Eliza Newton just won the World Championship in BMX racing. I try to keep up.
Good luck with that.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
A retired FBI agent is giving new insight into the abduction of Hannah Anderson, a Lakeside teenager kidnapped in 2013 and rescued in Idaho. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. The 16-year-old girl was found in a remote wilderness with a 40-year-old man who was shot and killed by FBI agents. As our David Godfredson reports, one agent details the rescue operation tonight on CBS in the latest episode of FBI True.
So the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness Area is something on the order of 2.3 million acres.
Retired FBI agent Chuck Davis was part of the hostage rescue team that recovered teenager Hannah Anderson 10 years ago from a remote wilderness area in Idaho, more than 1,000 miles from her home in Lakeside.
A group of horseback riders were riding way back into the wilderness area and came across a gentleman and a young girl who they said were ill-equipped to be in the area where they were.
An Amber Alert had been issued for the 16-year-old a week earlier. Officers believed she was kidnapped by a family friend, 40-year-old Jim DiMaggio. This video shows them passing through a Border Patrol checkpoint in Pine Valley. Hannah's little brother, 8-year-old Ethan Anderson, and her mother, Christina Anderson, had been found murdered in a burned-down house in Boulevard where Jim DiMaggio lived.
And the Amber Alert was on the television, and I told my wife, I said, that is that girl we seen on the mountain.
Retired FBI agent Davis spoke to CBS 8 about the rescue operation in advance of his appearance tonight on the FBI True episode airing on CBS.
As we were planning the general area search, we had aircraft assets up and they had identified a tent and a man and a young girl up at this lake.
The FBI video shows DiMaggio on the right and Hannah Anderson on the left. DiMaggio then takes off his shirt and walks away.
And then the pilots came over the radio and said, Hannah is down by the lake. She's as far away from DiMaggio as we've seen her from him. So that was the impetus behind us saying, okay, now is the time.
In this shot, you can see Hannah waving her arms as if to signal for help, a campfire going in the top right of your screen. They were lost in the wilderness. Here's what she told the Today Show in 2013.
He was trying to start a fire signaled for help, and then all of a sudden the fire wasn't working. So I told him, I said, well, I read in a book that if you fire a gun in the air 3 times, that means SOS. So he went to fire it once, and I was watching him, and then he fired it the second time, but he lowered it. And then a bunch of guns went off, and I looked, and he fell on the ground.
DiMaggio's sister Laura filed a wrongful death lawsuit in 2015, claiming her brother was shooting his gun to signal for help. She appeared on CNN accusing the teenager of involvement in the plot.
I remember very vividly telling my brother, she's trouble. She stated that she was, very upset with her mother.
The sister's lawsuit was dismissed in 2020. As for Hannah Anderson, she is now age 26, living in Vancouver, Washington with her partner and newborn son. Studying to become an MRI technologist, she emailed me a statement saying, quote, I have a family of my own now and an amazing life ahead of me with my guardian angels watching above. Ethan's birthday was Sunday. He would have been 19 years old. I miss them every day, and one day my son will know what an amazing grandma and uncle he has up in heaven. Now, late this afternoon, DiMaggio's sister Laura emailed me saying she currently is producing a podcast detailing the unanswered questions surrounding her brother's death. She wrote, It is my sincerest hope that a comprehensive and unbiased review of events and witnesses will be able to bring peace and healing to everyone who is devastated by these horrific events. Now, I'm out here live at San Diego's FBI headquarters because of this new series airing on CBS. Details these crimes with interviews with the actual agents who are involved in these crimes. Tonight's episode of FBI True, the kidnapping of Hannah Anderson, airs at 9 p.m. here on CBS 8.
Thanks, David. An update tonight in the Larry Milete case. Milete, who is charged with the murder of his missing wife, Maya, is now represented by Leanne Sabatini, who will serve as his defense attorney in the criminal case. Attorney Bonita Martinez tells us she will continue to represent Milete in civil matters. Martinez says the decision was due to financial hardship and expenses and says she made the request to step down months ago. Maya Milete disappeared in January of 2021. Her body has never been found.
2 people appeared before a judge today for sentencing in connection with a string of burglaries committed in San Diego County over an 18-month period.
CBS 8's Brian White is live at the Central Courthouse downtown with more on what happened in court. Brian.
The hearing lasted about 45 minutes with both defendants in custody appearing before the judge. Now, this string of burglaries affected a lot of people from Chula Vista all the way up to Carlsbad, and we heard from some of those victims in court today.
Even if I grow older until my last breath, the pain of losing my treasures will be here forever, and that's something that will never heal.
Angie Valerio emotional in court. The burglary of her Chula Vista home in July of last year still brings her pain. Her husband Tony also spoke.
All the monies are gone as well as the jewelries. How can we bear the pain of losing our most precious possession? And those are heirlooms from our parents that were given to them by their parents.
Defendant Lauren Patrick pled guilty to multiple counts of residential burglary and conspiracy to commit a crime. The prosecution says she would case the neighborhoods and select which homes to rob.
They were very premeditated and sophisticated about how they went about selecting their victims. They sought certain homes that had nobody home.
Her sentencing was continued to October 12th, her attorney citing health problems.
Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Devon Taylor pled guilty to 82 counts. He and Patrick are linked to a 9-person burglary theft ring, the ringleader of which, George Boozer, was sentenced to 56 years in state prison last week.
Mr. Boozer was a shot caller. Mr. Taylor was the one that was actually committing the crimes. He was the one going into the homes, armed with pepper spray, spraying dogs. He was in there ransacking homes.
In several cases, victims' dogs were pepper sprayed, including Angie and Tony's Pomeranians. She suffered anxiety and PTSD and many sleepless nights.
When we hear a strange noise, especially in the middle of the night, we can't go back to sleep anymore because of fear. Fear that these people will come back and rob us again.
Taylor's sentencing was continued to later this month. He could be facing a life sentence.
He does not merit the court leniency. He is what 3 strikes legislation is about, and that is to prevent recidivism.
Again, the hearing was cut short due to timing constraints, so Devon Taylor's sentencing will be continued on October 20th, and he is facing a possible life sentence. Marcella?
Thanks, Brian. San Ysidro High School basketball star Mikey Williams is facing multiple charges tonight related to a shooting in Jamul. 2 juveniles testified today against Williams during his preliminary hearing. They say back in March, he threatened them before the car they were in was hit with bullets. But they say they didn't see Williams firing a gun. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department says people were arguing about guests inside the house where Williams lived. No one was hurt in the shooting. Williams is out of custody on $50,000 bail.
The San Diego County Board of Supervisors today approved $3 million to fund support services and nonprofits helping migrants in San Diego seeking asylum.
Supervisors voted this morning, but not everyone is on board. CBS 8's Jesse Pagan is here with why some people are against the plan. Jesse?
Carla Marcella, the $3 million are coming from leftover funds from the Federal American Rescue Plan Act, which is when the Biden administration sent states and local governments money to help fund the COVID recovery and stimulate the economy. Despite these not being local dollars at the source, some still say the county shouldn't be using its money to solve a federal problem, which the county declared a humanitarian crisis. That declaration opened the door for today's vote from the San Diego County Board of Supervisors. The board will use $3 million to fund services and support nonprofits helping migrants who end up in San Diego.
Some of the services that they're going to be able to provide include being able to give folks things like water and Wi-Fi and just a place so that they are able to get their tickets, so that they can connect with their sponsors, so that they can meet their final destination.
Chair Nora Vargas led the way with the idea after several local nonprofit leaders and volunteers asked the county to step in on top of asking the federal government for help.
They have already been vetted, they've been granted asylum or temporary protected status, and they're trying to get to friends and relatives across the country, but they're just being dropped off on the street corners.
Oftentimes, San Diego is not the final destination. Supervisor Tara Lawson-Reamer supports the move, saying this will help asylum seekers get to where they need to go, while relieving some of the strain the high numbers of people are putting on our current services. But not everyone agrees. Supervisor Jim Desmond opposes the idea. In a statement on social media, Desmond writes this is, quote, money that should be used to address pressing issues within our county, like homelessness, deteriorating roads, and mental health crises. Others say the federal government should be solving this federal problem. Chair Vargas doesn't disagree with that.
We are trying to make sure we get some funding from FEMA, that we get the resources that we need. But, you know, I can't look away and pretend that it's not happening. That doesn't make it go away, and it impacts our communities.
Vargas says the county will start notifying nonprofits, which are already doing work with migrants like Jewish Family Services, to apply for these new funds soon. Carla, Marcella?
Thanks, Jesse. President Biden is promising to support Israel as the death toll rises in the country's fight against Hamas.
At least 1,600 people have been killed, including 14 Americans. President Biden says Hamas also took Americans hostage. The U.S. is sharing intelligence with Israel to help free them. It's also providing more military assistance, including ammunition and missile interceptors.
Tonight, we're hearing stories from two pastors at the Rock Church. They left Israel the day the bombing started. Pastor Travis Gibson and Pastor Santiago Ruiz say a missile hit right after their flight took off. They actually saw smoke coming from the ground while up in the air. Gibson and Ruiz spent 12 days touring the Holy Land. They prayed for peace during a Jerusalem dinner.
There were at least 20 different nations physically there at the event with us, and to see the unity and to see people just really praying for peace.
Other members of their group made it home safely, but they say their tour guide, an Israeli man, is still in Israel living in a bomb shelter with his family. Pastor Gibson says he gets updates from him every day.
Still ahead, a former Padre says he's running for the late Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat.
Plus, the Powerball jackpot continues to climb. It's now up to $1.73 billion, where $1 million winning ticket was sold right here in Southern California.
And looking at our temperatures across the county, they have definitely started to cool down, but don't worry, some warmer weather is on the way. I'm meteorologist Sean Stiles. We'll tell you about that coming up.
And claims of deadly perfume samples up next. The Verify team investigates.